Daily. Pardon?
No, it's just the Zoom.
Oh.
I'm saying that it's-
Zoom came on finally. That was outstanding.
Did we get any responses from anybody?
You know, I didn't hear any responses, but there was a gentleman who came to the door when I was opening up today, inquiring about the case. When I explained it to him, he said he fully supports it. He's one of the neighbors who got the mailing. So he said he didn't feel like he needed to come here, but to let you know, he does support it.
Okay, thank you. Is Teresa McAvoy here?
I actually signed the application. Yeah.
We're gonna ask you to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Timothy McHugh, MCHUGH, and my home address is 463 Washington in Elmhurst, Illinois.
Okay, and do you swear the testimony you're gonna give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. So you're requesting a map amendment at 3131. I'll change it back to residential.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, about 30 years ago, the owner, Thelma Craig, came to my office for some estate planning. As part of the estate planning, we put the house into a living trust to avoid probate. And she passed away almost a year ago. And so the successor trustee, Teresa McAvoy, wanted to sell the house and split the proceeds among the beneficiaries of the trust. And after we got a contract, the appraiser for the lender determined that the property was zoned B3, which is business, commercial rather, and because it was B3, while the grandfather clause was allowed to remain a residence, if it was ever destroyed, a new residence couldn't be built there, which caused the lender to say, we can't loan on that because we won't have our value. And at that point, Teresa didn't know that it had been rezoned, and she doesn't think her mother knew. And I'm not saying that they didn't receive notice back when the notice was sent.
Right.
Because I then went back and I read the 1999 comprehensive plan. I saw that the village at that point was really trying to move towards more commercialization, and they were trying to get, I guess, the area around the intersection of 183rd and Kedzie to be pretty much all commercial. I believe the 1999 comprehensive plan suggested that this parcel would be changed to B3, and also all the residences between Kedzie and California on the north side of 183. Apparently the residences were never changed, but for some reason this one got changed. Well, as I look at it now, and maybe a little bit due to COVID, the value of property, especially commercial vacant property, has gone down tremendously. Yet the residents, we have contracts for over $300,000. I will suggest that this change back to R1 would be appropriate. All the lots to the east of this are zoned R1 and all residences. All the lots across the street to the north are all zoned R1 and they're all residences.
Right.
So we wouldn't be changing the nature of the neighborhood. No, in fact, we'd be keeping it the way it is now, so everyone is happy with. My experience with property use laws, the property is supposed to be used for its highest and best use. And my suggestion for the revision of the zoning would keep it as it is, and I believe that's the highest and best use of this parcel. Thank you.
Okay. Member Castaneda, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, I looked it up and it's been under contract for about 60 days. Is there something in the contract that is contingent on this rezoning?
It's contingent on getting a loan.
Sure.
And we can't get a loan. So.
Nope, that's it.
Yep. Member Johnson?
No questions.
Member O'Brien?
I have a couple. I must have missed it. What is the relationship of the applicant to the owner that passed?
The daughter and successor trustee to the
Okay.
trust that own the property.
Okay. I have a question for staff. In 2002, as a result of the other changes in 96 and 98, it was rezoned to commercial with additional single-family houses to the south. When were the single-family houses along 183rd Street rezoned back to R1.
They were never rezoned. They were not rezoned to B3 at any point. They were identified as B3 in the land use plan, but for whatever reason,
What is their status today?
they are. We're in that one.
They were changed back from B3.
They were R1 and they, at the time, that we were happy that we were rezoned. They're not. They see R1.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the charts that we saw, it was in red for 183rd Street. And then it
Yes.
was changed back to a yellow, which is R1. So at one point they were B3, they were red. So my question is, when were they changed back to yellow, which is R1?
It's, it's in the,
Let's see.
it's on page 33.
Yep.
Residential in 96,
It's-
and they turned the corner in 99.
I think that was the plan that I guess I remember. I don't know. And they were changed.
Age.
33.
Yeah, this was the plan for it, but it wasn't the zoning map. This
See, on
is the
page,
land use
the
plan.
existing land use map in 1998 showed it as yellow, and then the
Different.
future land use map in 1999 showed it as red.
That's still current.
What's the
That,
98?
that's current.
That's still current.
I think that's what was proposed, but it never occurred. That never went through. I think,
I'm asking a general question as opposed to the specifics of this particular applicant. Are we going to receive, as people get older and they pass on, that we're going to get fits and starts of requests to rezone the properties along 183rd Street then? If that's the case, then my recommendation would be, apart from this particular case tonight, we would have to take a look at that, and reschedule all those properties.
I would agree with that. I think we can do that. We'll have to send out a mailing to all the property owners and make sure that they're aware, but it would probably make sense to do that.
Okay, and it also would hold true for the single property on the east side of Kedzie between Olive and 183rd. Now, that particular property, again, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there an ordinance that requires identification of an address? There is no identification of an address on the house, the mailbox, or the curb. So I don't know what that address is,
Okay, we will make a note of that. Yeah.
but it's a single family residence.
It's across the street. So it's across the street.
What's across the street?
The house here, the address they're referring to.
We will.
No,
make
it's
note.
on the east side of Kedzie, between Olive and 183rd Street. It's,
I think I see this.
where is it?
Here.
Here, it's that one right there.
Oh, okay.
Getting back to the case at hand. Uh, It's faint on one of the maps, one of the charts that, is this made up of 4 parcels?
it's just one pin number, it's just a big.
Or it's just one pin number for the whole property? Well, the obvious question that I have would be, at the time in 1998 or 9 or 2002, why didn't they just subdivide for the house and leave the rest of the parcel for commercial coming off of Kedzie? That would have made more sense to me.
It would have been the property owner that would have had to re-subdivide it, and it sounds like they weren't involved at all.
Okay,
Okay.
well, then the second obvious question is there going to be a re-subdivision so that the existing house, which is desired to be sold, there's the rest of the lot that could be construction of another home?
I can't speak for the proposed purchaser.
Okay, so
I'm not aware of it.
it's under contract for the entire
Yes.
property.
Mhm.
Okay,
If it were re-subdivided, it would have to come before the planning and zoning commission.
yeah,
So that would be.
It's amazing. It hasn't been in all these years.
Right, yeah, it's a big lot. Yes.
You could put two houses on.
The challenges created by the existing coding back in 2002, which are on page 15, insurance is mentioned. I can understand the other challenges with regards to selling that is your concern right now. I'm not familiar. Is there some disparity in the cost of insurance for the existing structure? Because it's zoned B3?
Well. I don't know, because I'm not on the purchase side, so I don't know what their insurance agent said, but let's just say it gets burned down and you get the insurance, but you can't live there any longer, so you're saying take the money and buy elsewhere? I don't know.
Okay. I thank you. No more questions
Okay,
at this time.
member Cap?
Good evening.
No,
I certainly can understand the
There.
chronology that's
Okay.
been
This
presented
is
to us.
West of Kedzie.
About this, but my question to you is,
Okay.
can you answer it? We're talking about a house, I think it was reported that it was built in the 1970s, so it's 50 years or so. Sure. And then a lot of the, I'm gonna say all of the, let's call them the transaction. Either, these changes to the land use and the zoning and the zoning classification and whatever seem to, seem to settle in on the years 1999 and 2002. And my question is,
Oh, okay. Okay.
if the property was rezoned in 2002 or 1999, where was the property owner? Did the property owner assent to this then?
My understanding is, notwithstanding the notice provisions, the property owner really wasn't aware of this change. And if you want her daughters in the audience, and she would have probably heard about it from her mom.
I just find it curious.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I don't know anything about the notice.
And it's obviously water under the bridge.
Right.
Right.
20-some years ago, but just curious, that's all. I don't have any more questions or comments.
Okay, thank you.
I recall at the time that the, I think it was in 1998. The plan was being made and certain people's houses were zoned commercial and they came to the meetings and they were quite upset. And I can imagine that, anyone whose house was residential and became commercial had to fear for what might happen to their house. But I think that this one, contiguous to all the residential areas makes a lot of sense for it to be residential. And if the whole lot was residential, probably would make it easier if for the new owner, whomever, to come back to us, subdivide it and put another house on the lot. And it would still be within the character of the neighborhood, so I don't have any questions, but I think it's probably the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think it makes nothing but sense to change it back to residential. I have no problems with it whatsoever. Anybody else have any other questions or comments from the board?
None.
Anybody in the audience have anything? No.
I do, but after we pass on this particular case, I have a question.
Okay. So then are we ready for a motion for this particular case?
Yep.
And who would like to be the,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a recommendation to approve case 24-38 to allow map amendment for 0.067 acres at 3131 Olive Road, changing the zoning designation of the property from the B3 General Business Zoning District to the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District, and incorporate the findings back into the record.
Okay.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Member Todd,
Yes.
Member O'Brien,
Yes.
Member Johnson.
Yes.
Member Castaneda,
Yes.
Chairman Zerlego.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time and your consideration.
We'll be on the next report.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Bye.
Anything else for us tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Hmm. And you said you wanted to mention something.
Brian,
I have a comment. I asked, our director with regards to all of the correspondence that were distributed at that time in 2002. And I have them here, and among them were 3 pages of the property owners that were notified of the property in the area, not necessarily well, it includes all of them. So I would think it would be some exercise to go through. One of the residents is listed as the Kelly Mid Country Club. And I don't think that there's any residences there any longer. There was, but not any longer.
Right.
So I think it will be quite an exercise to go through and identify all of the property owners along 183rd and Kedzie to move forward with something that would relieve that situation, because that's going to come before us. And I would think we should do that as a matter of efficiency, and because otherwise it would be 1 this time and 2 the next time and 1 another time as the property owners change.
Yeah, okay.
And they would have a rude awakening when they think that they're going to sell the property and all of a sudden they can't.
Which is what happened in this.
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused. How many, so what area are we covering, would we be covering for this? With, say, another map amendment?
There were a number of different areas, yeah.
Originally, in 2002, following the comprehensive plan recommendations, there were several different parts of the community that were looked at to be rezoned to from residential to commercial. This one, I don't think anyone showed up at the meeting and asked about it, so it was, but there was another area of town.
There's kind of downtown here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which interesting,
So-
we just rezoned that area to commercial and nobody showed
Sure.
up at all. So,
These are all the properties on 183rd on the north side,
Yeah.
from McDonald's to Sacramento, including that one house on Kedzie on the east side, between Olive and
we can look at
183rd.
that, take a look at all the addresses,
Yeah.
just to see which ones will
So
rezone.
we're talking, what, 20 houses? Something like that, roughly?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Is this something we can do village-wide, just get a map, a
Yeah.
GIS map and identify which,
Try to do a scan of how many single family homes are currently zoned commercial and
Yeah.
whether it would make sense to rezone them, and we can take that
Yeah.
as staff to the board.
some of them might make sense to remain, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot that,
And now that, multifamily units, how would that? But it obviously would include those too, right?
Multiple family, yeah, you mean
Okay.
on commercial
Yeah,
properties,
yeah.
they may be permitted depending on which commercial property it is. Some of the commercial. Allow multiple family and not single, but we can look at that too.
That's interesting. That's a
We'll do
good,
that.
good find.
I think that would be a good
Yeah.
proactive.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we would have a meeting like this, but we wouldn't have an applicant, right? We would just simply be adopting a map amendment. Okay.
And we would, notify all the property owners and. You read their name and show up.
Mhm. We don't need anybody to show up. If they don't show up, it doesn't matter because we'll do it anyway, right?
It's perfunctory.
It's good.
Nothing else?
Yeah.
I'll then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Member
Second.
Brian,
I'll second it.
second by member Cap. Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Member O'Brien,
Yes.
member Johnson,
Yes.
member Castaneda,
Yes.
Chairman Zerlega.
Yes.
All right, I would say that's a record.
That's pretty good, yeah.
22 minutes.
22.
Actually, 23, sorry.
Take a
Uh.
picture of the clock up there. For this one.
Well, sometimes if we go too long, certain members on my left start to complain.
And we're
We're
great.
trying to keep them happy.
He's a great player.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you all.
Okay.